In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 things that I wish I knew before I started freelancing. And this is a 2-part series, so there'll be 5 more tips later, but I just wanted to have the time to actually discuss these 5. And I'm not going to be too wordy about them, but if any of these pique your interest or you want me to dig into a little bit deeper, let's do that in the comments, shall we? So first off, I started freelancing about more than 10 years ago. And to be honest with you, I think I stepped in kind of like most people, which is that I wanted to be in charge of my own hours. I wanted to be my own boss, and I didn't know any of the things that needed to be a part of a good business. And I didn't know that that's really what I was running. I just kind of took my employee mentality and I kind of transposed it into my new entrepreneurial venture, which was eLearner Engaged. And along the way, there were some hardcore lessons. And also along the way, I learned something that I didn't really know existed, because as an employee, I feel like this isn't a part of something that is that's really shared, is that people who want to get good at something, they don't just read books, they don't just go to courses, which obviously a lot of people do. They also hire coaches and mentors. And a lot of these tips came from not necessarily me going, oh, I figured this out, but it was me either observing somebody else who did something really well and I was like, why am I not using that strategy? Or what happened is I was struggling and I asked somebody who was my mentor or coach, and they were able to tell me, this is how you shortcut the process. So what I wanted to do today is give you the 5 things that I think will shortcut the process for you. Don't attach payment to deliverables. Now, there's payments, and structuring your payments as a freelancer is a big ball of yarn that I don't want to get into today. But one of the things that I found is that if you attach your payment to a deliverable or a milestone in the project, then what happens is it puts undue pressure on you to deliver at that date, even if maybe you need to spend a day or 2 extra on it, because that will make a big difference. And then the other side of the coin that it does is it puts all this pressure on the client to approve work or not approve work because a payment is attached to it. And therefore, it's not like they're reviewing it with this anxiety. Let me know what you think about that one. Number 2, this still has to do with money. And I'm going to talk about money because I think a lot of people don't talk about money. And I think a lot of people don't talk about business when it comes to this. And so there's this like vacuum of unknown, and I want to get rid of that for you. So the second one is that work doesn't begin until the payment is in the bank. So I believe in like that cafeteria thing where you pay and then you get to, eat all the food. And so the same with contracts. I either like to ask for the money upfront, and the work does not begin until that money is there. And there's several reasons for that. You can ask half upfront, half at the end, whatever. The reason I ask for the money is because in that case, what it does is it says to me that the person is committed. The business is committed to me and the project. And I've had instances where I've begun work and the business was not committed to the work, and therefore the project did not go forward. And so then later trying to recoup some of that money is just like, oh, I put in these many hours. If you charge per project, that's not cool, because you could get basically the bulk of the project done in the very first week if you wanted to, because you have all these resources that you're leveraging. So, and also, how do you recoup time that you've spent researching things with stakeholders and practitioners? Those are things that you can't get back. So I say, have the money in the bank before it begins. And I have to tell you now, there will be businesses that will tell you, we don't do this with vendors. We don't do this kind of stuff. We don't pay people up front. That's not our policy. And I've said, well, that's my policy, is to get the money up front or have payment up front. And guess what? They wanted it and they got it done. I'm going to stand firm on that. People will respect you for that and they will accommodate you. Number 3, you probably know this, or maybe you don't, but some of you will be like, oh, Anna, I know this for sure, but we don't act the way we should, a lot of us. So our stakeholders don't know about e-learning. And I want to say that again. Our stakeholders don't know about e-learning. So what I want you to consider is that they don't know what they want. They don't have the breadth of knowledge that you have. They don't have the immersion in that. And so if somebody says something, don't consider that as the final call. Consider that you might need to educate them a little bit and provide them with some options and some ideas that they've never considered. And every single time I've done that, the project has been better because then the client knows what's possible for their specific product, for their specific need that I've offered, and now it becomes a better experience for the end user. This fourth one is kind of weird because it refers to the juju. You know how I have subscribed for good juju? By the way, you should subscribe for good juju. So this one is about paying your contractors well and first. I remember being a subcontractor for a company, and they sent out this notice saying that they don't get paid for like 90 days, and therefore I won't get paid for like 120 days or something like that, because they need to get paid first so that I can get paid. And it left a very terrible feeling in my mouth. Taste, not feeling. Taste. Anyways, but one of the things that I learned from one of my mentors is that kind of karma, juju, goes around. And so if you're always hiring the cheapest people, if you're always haggling with people, if you're always waiting till the last minute to pay them and they have to hassle you to get paid, that's going to come back to you, and you're going to attract the kinds of clients that are going to haggle you for prices, that are going to haggle you for time, that are going to wait till the last minute to pay you, and you're going to have to hound them. I just feel like that is something that has, for me, it's perpetuated itself. And so the more I work with other people, the more I make sure that I pay them really well and fairly, that they get paid first because they delivered on that work for me. And that's how everything else kind of manifests itself into the projects that I get and the clients that I attract. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, now this is the fifth one. And this was, I gotta say, probably the hardest lesson for me, which is that you got to, 80% of your work is marketing and sales. When I first started, I had some legacy projects over from my other work. And so that kind of gave me this kind of false sense of security. And I feel it made me a little bit lazy. It made me like, work will come because there's just an abundance. And there is an abundance of work. There's actually more work now than there ever was. The more I talk to people, they're always like, I'm slammed. I got so many projects. That's fantastic. But the worst thing that happened to me is I didn't want just any projects. I wanted specific kinds of projects that I could use to build on my mastery of skills that would help me leverage the resources I already had and make them even better. The templates and the user experience that I developed into other projects, I wanted to incorporate that into my new projects. I didn't want to start from scratch, basically every project, by building things that I wasn't comfortable with. And so in order to be able to do that, you have to market what you're doing. You have to attract and talk to people who are looking to solve the kinds of problems that you're good at solving. And to do that, you have to market and network and reach out to people and show them things and educate them and see what's happening and do research and marketing and sales. And for me, I was so deep in the projects, and when a project would come my way, I'd bury my head and just go down and, work on that project for such a long time that when I raised my head back up after I got paid, I was like, where's my next project coming from? And instead of it being something that I wanted, because I would have been kind of filling the pipeline all along with things that I want, it was like, oh my gosh, I got to take something because I got to get paid. And so I would end up taking on projects because I didn't do the sales and marketing. So it's almost like I didn't want to step out of my comfort zone initially because I thought sales is icky, marketing is icky. And then I ended up actually doing more work that I didn't enjoy because of that feeling. So I hope that was an interesting mix of lessons. I have, I think 5 or 6 more for you in the next video. Let me know in the comments which ones resonated with you, which ones you want me to get into more. We can discuss in the comments. I'd love that. If you have lessons that I know you do, lessons that you've learned as a part of being a freelancer or transitioning from being an employee into a freelancer, please share them in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And if you disagree with any of the ones that I have. Now, I do have another video coming up for you, so I hope you look forward to that. When it is posted, I'll try and link to it somewhere, and it'll be in the comments as well. And also, if you subscribe, then you get a notification that I've posted it. In the meantime, I really appreciate you sticking around watching these videos, and hopefully you're finding them valuable. And I'll see you in the next video, friends. Take care. Bye.